course, load shedding continues still, stage 6. That's the way the country finds itself in tonight. The city of Cape Town has now activated the Disaster Operations Center. It's to mitigate the impact of the power cuts on its residents, while others are looking to get off the grid. However, it's a different picture in the Mkhondo Municipality in Mpumalanga, where locals are not only dealing with load shedding, but also with load reduction. We're joined by Athi Mtongana, who's in Cape Town, Mweli Masilela, live for us in Mpumalanga. Good evening to both of you, and really it's a tale of how different various cities are experiencing these power supplies. Athi, before I come to you, let me kick it off with you, Mweli, and you can paint a picture for us in terms of how residents are dealing with the load shedding that is also compounded by the load reduction, which we know often doesn't follow specific time schedules or time frames.
Kathy, I can tell you now that there is a lot of frustration on the ground when we speak to ordinary citizens of the country here in Mkhondo, those owning small businesses as well as those that are running big business in this area. The biggest issue or concern from their side is that on top of the Eskom's load shedding, as we have said it, they are faced with the issue of load reduction. But earlier, Kathy, we also had an opportunity to speak to the mayor of this municipality, that is Mkhondo Municipality, saying that, well, there isn't much they can do about this current situation because at this stage, Eskom is already restricting the amount of power that is allocated here in Mkhondo. In fact, there are still some settlements that have not been connected to the grid, according to the municipality here, because already they don't have enough power to supply to those areas. But Kathy, speaking to the business people here, they are saying that just because this municipality is owing Eskom more than 300 million rand, as much as they understand that some of the issues might be beyond them, but they are still of the view that the municipality must make some means and pay that Eskom debt, and Eskom will then perhaps add the amount of power that will be allocated in this area. So the issue of load reduction as well as load shedding by Eskom, it ends up exposing business people to long hours without power here. Let's speak to one of the business owners in this area, Kathy. His name is Fred Bauer. He's been running this butchery for more than 20 years. And actually, when we spoke, he said that this business is on the brink of closing down if these issues are not addressed. Tell us about your frustrations. How do you see the future looking into the current situation?
Good evening, sir. I'm Fred Bauer. I'm running this butchery for 20 years. I've got 16 people working for me, and at this stage I can't afford it anymore because I'm paying electricity on my diesel and the generator. I'm paying more or less 1,000 up to 1,200 rand a day. I can't afford it, and there's two things I can do. It's or retrench people. People are working for me 20 years, 18 years, 16 years, that's the average they are working for me. So or retrench the people or close down my business. But we can't go on any longer on the way that the municipality is paying their bill to Eskom. The reason is our outstanding balance at Eskom is 340 million. The municipality don't pay Eskom, and now they've got load shedding 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. We've got sometimes only electricity for 3 hours, and we can't afford it anymore. I'm trying to look what we can do, but if they don't pay their electricity bill to Eskom, the municipality, and I'm not the only small business, there's a few of us that said we can't go on like that. So I hope something can be done about this case.
And then just lastly, speaking to the municipalities, what are they saying about this issue of load reduction, because, and also paying the Eskom debts, because seemingly those are the issues you are not happy with?
Yeah, nobody really knows. And we are sitting with our hands in our hair. People, there's only one word, that is a disgrace. Our town is falling apart, the potholes, there's not one road that you can travel. If you've got a 4x4, you've got a better chance. Our water, every day there's a water break. And the people, not only in town, even in location, I've got money for a generator at my home, but the people in location, they don't have it. How must that people feel? How must they survive? Every night they go to their house or their home, and I feel so sorry for them.
All right, thank you very much for talking to us, Kathy. As I've had seemingly quite a lot of problems here. Well, we'll wait and see if indeed, because some of these community members as well as business people are saying that they might decide to take action against what is happening currently, especially on the issue of the power crisis.
And these are very difficult decisions that people are being left with, that they have to think about on a day-to-day basis. I mean, you multiply 1,200 he's currently spending just on running a generator all day. Think about how many people potentially are earning a salary out of that cumulative amount of money. Thanks for that, Mweli. We're going to leave it there with you for tonight. Athi, of course, in Cape Town, the situation slightly easier as a result of what the city has been able to do when it comes to cushioning its residents against the full impact of the load shedding that we're experiencing.
Yes, Kathy, I'm being told here at this network operating center that just over half of the city's population is supplied by the city of Cape Town's grid directly, which has, as you mentioned, been cushioning those residents from experiencing, for example, stage 6 load shedding, where city-supplied residents are now experiencing stage 4, and that is what the city is going to continue well into tomorrow, when, of course, Eskom lowers the stages to stage 2. But I am joined by the Deputy Mayor. He's the man on the hot seat, Mr. Eddie Andrews, who's going to talk to us about those residents then that don't get electricity from the city. We're talking about the population of Khayelitsha, for example. They're already so disadvantaged in terms of the socio-economic challenges there, and they're already now having not being supplied by the city, experiencing stage 6 load shedding. What is the plan for those people?
I think we all understand that the impact is severe. They should not be normalized, and in the City of Cape Town we are keen to see how we can assist and alleviate sort of those burdens and have a lower stage being offered to not just those that are areas we are supplying, but also the other areas that are Eskom supply areas, so that they can also enjoy the benefit that we are offering City of Cape Town residents or areas that we supply. So we have recurring engagements with Eskom to see how we can absorb the infrastructure into our infrastructure grid, and at some stage in the near future actually offer them the benefit of having exposed to a lower level of outage in the City of Cape Town.
Given the fact that Eskom has had these woes for so long and they continue to implement these rolling blackouts, how long do you think these talks that you're having with Eskom will take for you to switch those residents to the city's grid?
As soon as they say yes, we are keen to consider those areas. I think they've put forward a proposal, some areas that they are ready for consideration. And so that will be the next agenda item, as to how do we consider those areas. It's not just about absorbing them into our infrastructure, looking at what the status of the grid is there. Do we take a grid that can actually is in good working order going forward, and so we can just implement the lower stages there. So it's not an easy conversation, but I think the important point to bring across is that we have to diversify. We have to ensure that we have diverse powers of energy, and that is why in the City of Cape Town we've gone out to market. We would ask IPPs to talk to us and offer us about 200 megawatts. That process was concluded last month, June, and in about 18 to 2 months we possibly could also offer a lower stage, 3 stages lower than what Eskom would currently be offering. So we're excited about that, and hopefully we can offer more of our residents that lower stage.
So you're already looking at alternative modes to generate electricity. And so from that bidding stage, what are we looking at in terms of timeframes? Now you've closed those tenders and you're looking at those who've then applied. How long will it take for you to then get to process and implement alternative means of generating electricity?
I think we had a magic wand. The answer would be yesterday. It's not as easy as that. These IPPs still need to build those plants and then generate the power. So anything from 18 months to 24 months, we're looking at that sort of timeline, and so we can get the power online and plug into our grid.
And the conversations that you're having with your ground personnel, because here, I don't know if my colleague would be able to slightly pan, but obviously we've been told that for security reasons, we can't show the details of what's happening at this network center. But in terms of the personnel that's here and the guys that are on the ground who are responding to some of the issues that residents are experiencing, how capacitated are you there, given the fact that load shedding is here to stay?
I think we hope to be very capacitated. I think instead of Cape Town, the impact is not just in terms of the economic data, it's there for everyone to see, but also when it comes to our sewer pump stations in our informal settlements, we need power to ensure that the declaration system works the way that it should. We can see the impact when businesses are closing down. We can see the impact at a very local level in your homes when your appliances are, blows and when the power is switched on. The impact is severe. So I think in terms of outside, we have control of what we have control in terms of our infrastructure, but it does have an impact, and hence we need to ensure that we get additional supplies of energy to ensure that we mitigate those risks.
How much is it costing the city, the municipality as it stands, this whole load shedding situation?
100 million rand a stage. 100 million.
All right, that's a lot. Thank you so much for your time. The Deputy Mayor of Cape Town, Eddie Andrews, talking to us about how they are already, as a city, of course, looking at, they've closed now the tenders for bidding in terms of the independent power producers. They're now going to, obviously, in the next couple of months, look at then how they'll be bringing into the system those independent power producers to try and alleviate the pressure from the city, which is already cushioning, Kathy, as you said, those who are supplied directly by the city. This, of course, will mean that even those who are outside of the city's grid, for example, those who are living in places like Khayelitsha, who are supplied by Eskom, would be able to also have the privilege of having a lower stage of load shedding.
All right. Athi Mtongana, Mweli Masilela, let's leave it there for tonight. So certainly a sense of what the picture looks like in different parts of the country and how communities and residents are trying to deal with the full impact of the load shedding.